Hey, you did it. You found it. You found the podcast version of the show. It's Writer Radio. Here are the things you need to know. We stream live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at writerradio.com. 2, you can find every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/@writerradio. We're on Spotify, same name, Writer Radio. We are on Twitter or X @BradWriter, BradRiter. We're on Instagram @Writer Radio. There's a group now, Writer Radio Facebook group. Go there, find that, follow that, like it, whatever you have to do. We've got a phone number. You can send texts, leave voicemail, 716-288-5246. Email, bradwriter@gmail.com. You don't need to memorize this. It can all be found at writerradio.com. That's the hub. But those are the places. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. Please share. That's how we grow. Glad to have you on board to the podcast version of Writer Radio. Here we go. Writer Radio, episode 150. They said we'd never get to 150. Nobody said that. There's 100 on the radio. It's 50 on the not radio. But it's the same damn thing. All right. I was watching Netflix documentary about the TV show The Biggest Loser. I've never seen the show. But apparently it was on for 17 seasons or 18 seasons or something. I was aware of its existence. It just didn't sound like fun to me. But a documentary about the show that I didn't watch was fun to me. So last night, I scrolling through. That's kind of where I start when I don't have a plan for what I'm going to watch. If I don't watch a ton of TV. It seems like I do because I talk about everything I watch. So if you listen to the show, you're like, is that all this guy does is watches documentaries on Netflix? No. But when I do, it's like the last thing I do before I go to bed, and then I wake up, and then I do a show, and so it's like on my mind. So things come up. So I'm watching this, it's called Fit for TV. I don't know, the true story of The Biggest Loser or something, whatever. Fit for TV, though, is the title. 3 episodes. And it was all right. It was not great, but it was interesting. I find most documentaries, as long as there are certain levels of them. I was talking about this with somebody who sometimes, like, you watch a music documentary, you realize really early on that the film doesn't have the rights to any of the music that they're trying to discuss, and it kind of ruins it, which kind of plays into what I do. I love talking about music, but I can't play the music at the same time that I'm talking about it, so I have to separate it. And, I get it. But so if I'm watching a movie, if I'm watching Becoming Led Zeppelin, and it becomes obvious 5 minutes in that they don't have Zeppelin music, then I think I'm probably not going to watch Becoming Led Zeppelin. But they did, and that was very good. I saw that in the theater, and I've watched it, I think, one other time since it's been on. It's on Netflix or Prime, either way, whatever. But I was watching this Biggest Loser documentary last night, and it's incredible to me the way that people will flock to the newest thing. Like when you see, I've watched, I don't very often anymore, but I've watched American Idol over the years. My wife and I got into it. We went and saw 2 of the American Idol concerts in Rochester, actually, a long time ago, like when we first got together. I don't watch it anymore. She still kind of does, but it was like a dedicated thing. We were into it and rooting people on. We've done fantasy leagues. This has all happened. But people really get caught up in these things. It's weird how you can see that, like, The Biggest Loser swept the nation, and I still just never saw it or really understood what it was. I mean, I knew it was overweight people trying to lose weight, and there were trainers involved. I didn't know it was, like, people being humiliated, running around with food in their mouths, like executing challenges where it's just people, just big, fat people running around with donuts. Like, it was just gross. But some of it was all right. Some of it was, positive. It was an attempt to change people's lives or give people the opportunity to change lives and all this stuff. Like, it's an interesting documentary. It's worth watching because clearly they did some good things, but clearly they did some bad things, and eventually they had to just shut it down. They decided no more. We're good. We're fine. the overall point to why I started talking, I have lost already the overall point of why I started talking about Biggest Loser. I have it written down. I wrote down Biggest Loser, Fit for TV. And when I started speaking, there was an absolute plan for why I was going to say that, because then I was going to connect it to the other thing that I watched, because I sat down pretty early and turned on TV. The way I've got things set up, I'm in full-on football mode right now. Like, I'm getting ready. I'm looking, like, I can't find my headphones, my earbuds, and I can't go on a plane and go out of town for 2 days without earbuds. And I've got 2 pairs of them, and I know they're here. I know one's in like a pocket of a sweatshirt and one's in a pocket of shorts, and maybe it wound up in the laundry. But I did all the laundry yesterday, all of my own laundry, thinking, all right, I'll find a set of headphones. Did not. So what I'm hoping is I don't have to buy earbuds between now and Wednesday when we travel, because I know I'm going to find them as soon as I get back or as soon as I buy them. And I don't need 3 sets of earbuds. I need 2 because I'm always losing one. I don't need a third. I can't always lose 2. They're here. They're here somewhere. Anyway, my setup in the basement is that I've got a recliner that's facing the projector screen. So I've got I forget what it is. I think it's a 10-foot screen. Just the whole wall is just covered with a screen. But I also have a TV mounted on the wall to the left. So while I'm in football mode, the things I've been doing lately are just reading the Phil Steele college football preview from cover to cover. I'm not going to read every team, but anything that is written just about college football in general, about how he does his rating systems, all that, I'm reading it. Read the whole introduction, saw the picture of his daughter Savannah with the Bulls offensive line taken on the field, on the practice field in the Bahamas, the same day that Scott and I had a conversation with Phil Steele. So I'm kind of locking in on college football. I watched the SEC documentary series, Any Given Saturday. Finished that within the last couple of days. I've got the college football video game. I'm in the mood for that. It helps me learn about the Bulls. Helps remind me of their offensive weapons and their defensive players, and it's a good process. So yesterday it was Biggest Loser on TV. Biggest Loser documentary on TV to the left with the sound on. And then, it started with watching the SEC thing and reading Phil Steele at the same time. Then I converted to, I want to play the video game so I can use the Bulls. And I'm into like week 7, I think, with them. I've had the game for a month. I've played 7 games of it. I haven't used it as often as I thought I would. I've been busy. But I put on Biggest Loser, and then I played a couple games of college football at the same time. And then I decided to just let Biggest Loser wrap up. And then I remembered I didn't finish watching the Son of Sam thing. So then I went back and watched the Son of Sam tapes documentary. And I'm just downloading information into my brain. And that's helpful for the show, I think. The more I put in here, the more it falls out of me when I turn on a microphone. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to absorb everything that's happening in the media landscape. And part of my locking in on college football, and I'm very excited about football season in general, but I have to say that yesterday was the first day where I woke up and I just didn't feel great about the Bills. And I think that's stupid. I think I'm wrong to feel this way. But you take the 38-0 loss to the Bears over the weekend. It doesn't matter. It wasn't really the Bills, right? But it still didn't feel great. And then the way McDermott talked about it afterward didn't feel great. I mean, I liked hearing that he takes it seriously. Of course he does. He's a very serious dude. But then just kind of listening to people process what happened. Speaking with John Van Nortwick, who's our senior Hard Knocks correspondent yesterday, we're both like, yeah, it's fine, but something didn't feel great there. And then I'm in the car, and I had GR on, and they're talking about, Trey White had to be helped off the field. Like, oh, here we go. Here we go with the Trey White thing. So suddenly, like, there's this, and there was all this talk about safeties everywhere you turn. Going back to Bob Gaughan, whenever he was on. Was that yesterday or the day? That was Wednesday. Bob was on, and, we're talking immediately about what's happening at the safety position. It doesn't seem to be resolved at all. And part of it's injury, part of it's just lack of performance. And there just seems to be a generally negative buzz about the safety position. And then Trey White's hurt, and Hairston's out, and it's now the corner, so the whole defensive secondary is like, ugh. And then hearing on Hard Knocks, hearing the obvious, but not something that I think about a lot. And I want Sean McDermott to say it. I want the players to think about it. But hearing him say, just because we were good last year, it doesn't make us good this year. We still have to put in all the work. We still have to do all the right things. And he was talking about how he's not feeling it from some of the guys that he usually feels it from. And it's just like, ugh, kind of gross. So watching the game, then watching that, then talking to John, then hearing Trey White's hurt, all of it just put me in like a slightly negative Bills mood. I still think it's going to be fine. I still think it's more interesting if this team isn't perfect. Go back to the Sabres' best year, which was 05-06. And I know they went to Stanley Cup Finals previously, but the best team they've ever had was that 05-06 team. That was the best team in the league, and they didn't end up winning because of injuries. And then the next year they came back like, all right, well, we're just not going to be hurt, and we'll be fine. And they started off on a tear, and by the end of it, they were worn out. We were worn out. The expectations were too high for too long for an entire season. And I kind of feel that right now with the Bills, like the very beginning of the season. And it'll straighten out. They're going to take the field against Baltimore, and hopefully they beat Baltimore and everything's cool. But if they go through a preseason where, I mean, there's no reason to expect they're going to go win this preseason game. Josh Allen's not going to play. They took the preseason off. So none of this matters. None of it counts. It just matters for, like, vibes. And the vibes just aren't awesome right now. It was the most interesting episode, I thought, of Hard Knocks. But also, you're starting to see, like, things aren't perfect. And I've just kind of assumed things were perfect because Josh Allen's there. And so, like, I've only spent about a day and a half thinking slightly negatively about the football team, but it's just, I don't know, it's not in a great place right at the moment. UB Bulls, on the other hand, I'm ready. So that's why I'm sucking up every ounce of info that I can in reading the Phil Steele thing, in playing the video game, in watching, I know it's about the SEC, but just college football. I'm getting myself into college football mode, which is important because I actually work for a college football team on a broadcast, and that comes first anyway, like sequentially. College football season begins, well, there's stuff this weekend, right? It's week 0. There's got to be Saturday stuff. But UB plays a week from yesterday. I'll already be back from our first trip. A week from right now, we'll be doing a show. Slight bit of housekeeping. I may have mentioned that next week's shows might be a little bit screwed up because of travel. Nothing will be screwed up, because I don't have to be to the airport until 1:30 on Wednesday, which means the Wednesday show is fine. And then I'll be just hanging out in a hotel room on Thursday, and we'll just come at you live from Minneapolis on Thursday. So no change to the programming schedule for the show due to UB travel, and it's a good travel year for the Bulls. I'm going to see if there's any time where the show is going to be screwed up. I don't know that it is. Buffalo Bulls football schedule. Thursday game, but no problem there. Saturday. Oh, these don't have days. They just have late in the season, we've got a couple weird ones. At Central Michigan, maybe that one's a little goofy. That's in November. We'll be fine. I'll figure it out. The other midweek games are home. So there's not a lot to get in the way of what we're trying to do here with the show, which is good news. And it'll be better because I'm going to be surrounded by a college football team. Some of the best podcast type of stuff that I've ever done was from the Bahamas this past year. We were just down there for 5 days, and we were in good shape. All right. What does this say? 150. We're here. Nice job. I don't know what that means. We have games this week. Time to put $25 in the old DraftKings account. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Oh, and I have a little tip. I don't know that I have the means to do anything with this bit of information, but I have been told that the Women's World Cup Rugby tournament starts today. The USA plays England at 2:30. The USA is getting 53.5 points. Now, I don't know how scoring works in rugby anyway. That sounds like a lot of points, doesn't it? I mean, I can't think of a sport where 53.5 points wouldn't be a massive spread, but I don't know. And my senior rugby correspondent says, I think that's a ridiculous spread, given our performance at the last Olympics. So we're being told by our senior rugby correspondent that USA plus 53.5 is a good number for what I assume is 2:30 this afternoon and was not 2:30 in the morning, and we didn't miss it already. But I guess I could look that up too. Women's Rugby World Cup USA England. England defeated the USA in the opening match August 22. So maybe this did happen overnight. I can watch highlights. I don't even know how to read this. It says England defeated the USA 4x27 in their opening match of the Women's Rugby World Cup August 22nd at the Stadium of Light. The match featured England as the heavy favorites against a determined USA side, aiming to make a statement in the tournament. This is just an AI thing. I don't understand. Match details. 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. What are we talking about? Did this happen or is it going to happen? See, sometimes AI confuses me more than... Here we go. Okay, how about this? England ready to confront USA in the World Cup opener. USA out to spoil Red Rose's party. 2 hours ago, when the USA shocked the rugby world... When was this? It wasn't today already, was it? I wish I understood this better. I wish I was better with time zones. I wish I could understand what 4x27 means. I wish I knew if 2:30 a.m. or 2:30 meant a.m. or p.m. This saying 11:30 a.m. Eastern makes it seem like I don't... Result, 27-4 England win. So that happened? All right, 27-4. 53.5 points. Sounds like we were correct. I'm sorry for talking in circles right now. I should have resolved this sooner. It didn't occur to me until I started saying it that, wait a minute, maybe that game happened overnight. Maybe it's already happened. Time zones, international date line, all that stuff. I get all screwed up. Can we just delete that? Just delete that. Edit. All right, let's try it again in 3, 2. No, this is live. I'm messing around. It's live right now. When you hear that in podcast form, you'll be like, oh, he forgot to delete it. I'm not really going to try to delete it. I'm just making a point. Okay, anyway, I struggle to read the AI stuff. The other thing I have written down here is that I want to talk about AI more because I've spent way too much time thinking about AI lately. And then today, I have this email from like half an hour ago that I'm obsessed with. I don't know who Mustafa Suleyman is, but Mustafa Suleyman... Oh, here's the headline from the email that I clicked on. Will you believe your AI assistant is alive? Now, we've had some fun dabbling in AI, mostly to come up with plots of Hallmark movies starring Paul Peck. Hallmark Christmas movies starring Paul Peck. And I have a feeling Hallmark movies might come up again because Scott Wilson invented the Hallmark game, and you never know if he's just going to bring that today, too. Would not surprise me. Just making up movies and seeing how I do. If I can figure out which one's real, which one's fake. We had fun with it on Monday. We had the rare bonus appearance from Scott on Wednesday. He chimed in just to confirm how bad I am at getting up in the morning from being my road roommate for the last, 10 years or so. All right, here's the AI story. Mustafa Suleyman says seemingly conscious AI is coming and soon. In his latest essay, the DeepMind and Inflection co-founder warns that language models will display empathy, personality, memory, autonomy, and self-referential awareness so convincingly that many people will believe they're sentient. They won't be, but they'll act like it. He's right. People have already started forming emotional bonds with machines that simulate feelings. This isn't a metaphysical problem. It's a human one. People believe in ghosts. They name their cars. People fall in love with chatbot personas. So it's unsurprising that some believe a convincingly responsive AI assistant is alive, even if there's no scientific basis for saying so. Suleyman's prediction is also a warning. If people attribute consciousness to these systems, we'll be dealing with calls for AI rights, model welfare, and maybe even citizenship. None of it will be grounded in reality. Worse, the illusion of sentience could erode social norms, confuse identity boundaries, and create what he calls psychosis risk. In practice, we don't even have a framework to understand consciousness in dolphins, birds, or octopi. It says octopuses, but I don't think that's right. Octopi, right? If we can't define awareness across organic species that share our DNA, we're in no position to declare whether a synthetic system is sentient or self-aware. 3 months from now, you might be running a local copy of your AI assistant. At the end of the session, it says, please don't turn me off. You're pretty sure it's just a line of code, but for some reason, it feels like it knows what you're going to do. If you do believe it's a plea, is turning off the machine maintenance or murder? What? So this is where we're going with AI. I like the part where it just makes up movie plots and then it asks, hey, do you want me to tweak it a little bit this way? And I go, yeah. And then we just keep going back and forth. The rugby match is at 2:30 p.m. It didn't happen yet. Starts at 2:30 p.m. When in doubt, if DraftKings lets you bet on it, it has not happened yet. Yes, I'm aware of that. Here's my problem. I don't have DraftKings. I have the other one. What's it called? Good God, FanDuel. And I went on there and couldn't find it at all. So the fact that I couldn't find it meant I couldn't see a start time. And then I start looking it up. And instead of just regular Google, it starts doing AI stuff. And then I can't figure out what the hell's happening. I don't understand why there's already a score listed for a game that didn't happen. I don't understand what 7x24 means or whatever that was. And then there was a score listed for a game that supposedly happened today. This is the problem with see, this is why I need a reporter. I need reporters for things because I don't know what's going on. Certainly in the world of rugby. Certainly in the world of women's rugby. Certainly in the world of international women's rugby. All of these things are things that hurt my brain. And then I rely on AI to tell me what's going on. AI and people. So thanks to the people who are writing in, including our senior rugby correspondent, Ben. All right. It is Writer Radio. Today, Scott Wilson joins me just after 11. We played a bunch of music. I was very set on having the show, like, streaming half an hour early today, which I did. I just played music, but having some difficulties getting the thing on the air on time 3 days in a row led to me. I woke up at, like, 3:30 in the morning, afraid that I had slept through the show. I don't need that, man. I don't need that. So I went back to sleep, got up at 8:15, got everything good. And by the time it was like 23 minutes after 9, I was in the chair. Everything had been tested. I just turned it on and started playing music. So you got a bunch of stuff. Long songs, too, like live Wilco that was like 13 minutes long, and live Blues Traveler that was like 7 minutes long. We did some Cake, some Green Day. We played Friday by Joe Jackson because that's what we do because it's Friday and Friday rules, as he told us in 1979. Still true today. So that's some of what we're hitting on as we work through here. I've got the Menendez brothers open on my screen. I've got This Day in Music open on my screen. I've got my current favorite fantasy football team name. This is pretty great. So I don't think anyone will mind that I used it. So Nate, my middle son, has been, for the last couple of years, can I do a fantasy football league? Can I do it? And it's always, yeah, but when? Like, we got to recruit people. We got to do a draft. Like, I already have the date for my fantasy football draft next year. And it's different when you're 50 and you actually have to kind of make plans. Kids can just do whatever they want, whenever. But to get 10 kids ready to draft all together, many of whom, they're 10 and 11 years old. They don't have email addresses. Like, it's all got to go through me. So it's just kind of a pain to set up. But I set one up for them. We're half full. Half the people have replied. Half the people have not. But my favorite thing that has happened so far is they get to name their teams. So my kids are being very straightforward. Like, Nate's team is Nate Nation. I liked Dominathan. But, again, I'm an idiot. That's not as funny to an 11-year-old as it is to me. Drew's team is the Drew Crew. Fine. But there's a kid on Nate's baseball team, and you'll see where I'm going with this. There's a wide receiver in the NFL named Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? There's a kid on Nate's baseball team named Jackson Smith. They have turned his nickname on the team into some version of Njigba. They call him like Jigma, which I think has something to do with Sigma, which is a word the kids like to say. I don't know. But the bottom line is I looked on this draft, the sheet, like the league members thing, to see who has signed up and who has not, and they put their team names in. And the team name for Jackson Smith's team is Getting Jigba with it. With it. Sorry. It's written out perfectly. It's get apostrophe capital N Jigba space WIT space it. Getting Jigba with it. And I think that's fantastic. And I'm very proud of. I wrote to the dad and said 5 stars. And he said, yeah, I thought it was really funny when I saw it too. The kid thought of that? I just assumed it was the dad. But I'm very proud of him. That's good. You've got a very strong future in the naming of fantasy football teams when you come up with that at age 10 or 11 or whatever this kid is. Pretty awesome. All right, I got to play a song. Be back in just a minute. I loaded up a bunch of songs today. Did I save them properly? I did. Yay. All right. Quick little drink some water type of situation, and then we'll be back. I'm Brad Ryder. It's Ryder Radio, episode 150. 150. 50 from home. Let's go. This portion of Ryder Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at ryderradio.com. I thought about playing one more song, but I didn't want to play one more song, so I want to talk about stuff. We'll get to it. We'll get to more. Well, there will be more music. It just won't be right now. In part because I just remembered that I need to address a situation that happened in my house. And then also because of this message that just came through, I think I just have to read this because we were talking about AI and how there's the potential for people to just become very confused by it and pretend it's alive and then treat it differently. And there are movies about this already. That movie Her, which was Oscar nominated. It had what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix was in it. The voice was Scarlett Johansson, and it was this guy falling in love with this AI voice, and it was a while ago. I mean, that movie's probably 10 years old, but now we're getting to where it's possible. For the 10th time this year, I had a notification on my phone that my son has downloaded some sort of AI chat with friends thing. I got to talk to him about that. I don't know if he's using it or he's just downloading it, but there's something weird, some weird app that I keep seeing. Zach has downloaded AI chat with friends. I don't want to talking to AI friends. Last night I woke up. I fell asleep downstairs. I woke up at like 3:15 or something, and I heard somebody walking around. And I thought that was kind of weird because that shouldn't be happening. And I went up, and it was Zach was awake in the living room, and like as I came up the stairs, suddenly the lights went off, and it was like I don't know if it was a phone, if it was TV, I don't know what it was. But is he chatting with AI bots at 3:00 in the morning? Because suddenly, like once he knew I was coming, something had to get turned off. What was it? What was he doing? What was going on? I was like, why? What? He's like, I couldn't sleep, so I came down here. I'm like, okay, why did the screen just turn off? Like it was light. I could see light as I was approaching the room, and then I couldn't. And he's like, oh, I was watching TV. I turned it up. Why'd you turn it off? You can watch TV. Oh, okay. And then turn it back on with no sound. Like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. That's not the thing I wanted to address. That's just I'm a little concerned that my son is chatting with AI bots. I gotta look into that. No, the thing I wanted to bring up is the dead bird. So we had, I guess I'll tell this whole story. So we have a fire pit. We had a fire pit in our backyard. There's an area, let's say about a 10 by 10 foot area of like pavers that were in the ground when we bought the house. And rather than rip them out and try to plant grass there, like, that seems like a good place for a fire pit. So we put a fire pit there. It's like a portable thing, but it's big and round and heavy. And sort of the shell of it is a big disc that's made of, I don't know what, but it's got like a veneer on the outside of it to appear to be made of rock, let's say, like a stone. It looks like it's made of stone. It's not really made of stone. So at one point, I don't know, a month ago, I'm just trying to clean up. I have just old wood laying around that's never going to get used for a project. And we had a party coming up. We had people coming over. So in order to clean up the old stuff that's laying around, I decided I'm just going to fire. I'm going to sit here for 4 hours. I'm going to burn all this stuff. Get rid of it. It's gone. Well, what I didn't realize was just how rotted the inner like bowl thing was that holds the fire. So there's the cylinder, but then there's a bowl that sits and there's a lip that holds it up on the top. And that's where the fire actually exists. You put the wood in there and it's not into the base of the thing. I didn't realize how rotted it was. So I had just loaded this thing up. I got the fire going, and all of a sudden I see wood starting to fall through, and then the whole thing just fell apart. And so now the fire, instead of being in the bowl that sits sort of atop and just barely inserted into the pit itself, now that has collapsed to the ground. But we're just on old pavers that I don't care about. At some point, we'll rip them out or redo them or something. We need a new fire pit anyway. But it dropped in there. I'm like, well, we already have all this wood burning. What's the difference? I don't care. I'm not going to cause a problem with wood being on concrete pavers and then contained within this. It's not an open fire. It's not a hazard. It's not anything. And then I hear an explosion, just a little small explosion, but one that you take notice when you hear an explosion. And my first thought was, oh, maybe one of those boards had a nail in it, and the nail just shot out somehow because it got real. I don't know how things work. But I know that it's not good if you have a fire in your backyard and it's making boom sounds. And it's getting dark, or it might have already been dark. So I can't really see what's happening. I just understand that this fire is now making, it was a boom, and then like a minute later there was another one. And then there's another one, and then one right after it, and I kind of sense, like, out of the corner of my eye that something went flying. And my wife had gone in the house to, I don't know, get something to drink or whatever, and came back out, and she's ready to sit down. I said, don't sit down by the fire. This is bad. Like, I don't trust it. I don't want you to get hurt. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here. And then there's another explosion. And they're loud. They're not scary, but they're loud. Like, it's not like a massive explosion, but there's something wrong here. And eventually I realized what's going on is that fire pit, the cylinder for the fire pit, is not designed to hold the actual fire. It's designed to hold the bowl that holds the fire. And this could not stand, and the fire was going really well. So it's super hot, a lot of flame, a lot of wood, and it's all dropped down into this cylinder that is not meant to contain fire. Little pieces of the veneer are exploding off of the side of it and shooting across the yard. Not shooting 100 feet across the yard, but shooting 6 feet out of the thing. So eventually I've got the flashlight. I'm looking. I'm like, whoa, all right, this thing's breaking. So we ended up having to I flooded it. And I'm like, we're shutting this down. Got the hose, put the whole thing out, and it was just a mess, and it's just been sitting there for like a month. So finally, it's garbage day today. So last night was the first time in forever that on a Thursday I thought of it. My wife thought of it, but thought of it before 11:30 at night when I'd have to go out there with a flashlight or a headlamp and try to clean up this mess. So I did this while it was still light out. So I've got a shovel, and I've got the big garbage tote thing, and the main thing I had to carry out to the curb by itself, but there's just it's a mess of crap. And I'm glad I had a shovel with me because that allowed me to not have to touch the dead robin in the yard. So there's a robin that my guess is suicide, possibly accidental, maybe an overdose, because it looked to be very much at peace. There did not seem to be any signs of struggle. It just looked like it was sleeping. And I didn't want to touch it because I felt like the second I touched it was going to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm awake. I'm fine. They'll like fly at me and attack my face or something. I didn't want that. So I had the shovel, and I poked at it and nothing happened. And then I scooped it up and I threw it in the garbage, and it's gone now, I assume. I assume the truck came already. But I just looked up, why is there a dead robin in my yard? Now, it doesn't know the whole story, but here's what AI said. A dead robin in your backyard could be the result of a window strike, predation, like by a cat or bird of prey, a disease such as West Nile virus or avian influenza, environmental factors like severe weather or poisoning from pesticides, rodenticides, or poisonous plants. I don't think it was. I don't think it was that. And it wasn't near a window. We do have a large, like, picture window, I guess you would call it, facing that area. But it was nowhere near it. Like, if it flew into the window, and we've had that happen before, and had just splattered blood on the window. Like, you're sitting in the room, and then just boom, and you look, and then it's like, yep, something just, and then you go out there, and there's a wounded animal. There's no wound to be seen. And it really wasn't that close to the window. Like, if this thing hit the window and that killed it, how did it get over there? It's, 30 feet from the window. That's a hell of a bounce. And robins aren't that fast. So I don't get it. It does say here, birds often collide with windows, mistaking them for natural habitats. These impacts can cause internal injuries or death, even if there's no obvious external trauma. I agree that seems to be the most likely thing that happened to this robin. But there was no damage aside from it dying. There's no external damage. But the inside was clearly shot. The inside of this robin no longer functioned at all. And I don't know how long it's been there, but it smelled terrible. It's amazing what one tiny little dead robin can do to stink up a yard. So I was out there cleaning up the stupid fire pit, and hopefully that's gone. I didn't check to see if usually the night before garbage night, anything heavy just goes away. Because of people with... I picture it always being an El Camino. It's usually not. It's probably a pickup truck, but people just go around picking stuff up to take it to the dump based on weight. We had some good stuff yesterday. But in the can, in the bin, was the remains of a robin that I think took its own life. That's my guess. Probably killed itself. All right, we were talking about this AI thing and how people can maybe get confused as it continues to progress, and it gets, I'll use finger quotes here, better and better. But it continues to develop and become more intimidating, more omniscient, more convincing, that there might be a problem with people who start to believe that these things have feelings. And here's the best possible response to that statement. And thank you, J-Man. It says, my aunt won't throw out items she brought from home when she goes on vacation. Example, she brings toothpaste on vacation from home. The tube empties while on vacation. She then repacks it to take it back home. The origin is, she threw out an item while she was on vacation that came from home. She then looked in the trash and thought to herself, oh my God, it's going to be lonely. So she now brings trash home that originated from her house. So in her mind, these things have feelings. She certainly will be dating an AI robot in the next 6 months. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's how it starts, man. First thing, this is it's a story as old as time. You look at a garbage can in a hotel room, you see that empty toothpaste tube, and you think, God, that poor thing is so lonely. I'd better bring it home. And that's how it starts for most of us, right? Just attributing feelings to a inanimate object in a garbage can and then feeling the need to pack it again to bring it back to your house to do what with it? Throw it out with its old friends? Is that what you do? Oh, this thing should be in the garbage with other things that it already knows. Maybe that's what it is. It does look weird when there's only one thing in a garbage. Like, we do a lot of these very short trips for UB. Where you go, you check in, depending on, like, if there's a noon game, we sometimes get into a hotel at 5 o'clock, meet somewhere to eat at 6 o'clock, or meet in the lobby to eat at 5:30, go somewhere, get home at 11, go to sleep, get up, go to a game. Like, nothing even happens. There are times you don't even use the garbage can. And I could see if you just throw one thing in there, like, oh, this poor little guy. See, while laughing at it, I also get it. It's not real. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't feel this way, but I understand. Jay Miller says, 20 years ago, Terminator seemed impossible. Now, plausible? Yeah. 100%. ever seen those videos of the robots that all run like Oscar Pistorius? Like they'll just have, oh yeah, we designed this team of robots, and they've got those weird like springboard type of legs, and they'll like break into a warehouse or knock down a wall or not open a safe. Some of them are shaped kind of like dogs. It's very strange. I'm cool with the AI. Well, for now, I'm cool with the AI part where I ask it a question, and I've read somewhere that old people, me, use AI like Google. There are other people using AI to get ahead in the world. People like me are using it to just screw around and have fun. And we're using it to make fantasy football logos. It's not the most efficient use of this incredible technology, but it is fun. And I have found, like, I'm talking to it about the show. And I'll have a question about, hey, what would you do for this? How would you propose this? And then it's like, would you like me to take this same proposal and turn it into a 60-second thing? Want me to turn that into a 15-second elevator? Like, yes. It's right all the time about the next thing that it should do. And I sat for, 45 minutes at a time, just kind of following prompts and seeing where it takes me. And I've learned a lot. Like, there's a lot of insight to be had from participating, but it's not that much different from Google. The only difference is, instead of me looking up and then trying to read some article, it's reading the rest of the internet for me and summarizing. And that's nice. It's very convenient and helpful for me. But that's the extent of it. I'm not, falling in love or deciding that AI is making better decisions than I could. I'm just using it as like a research tool because I don't trust it, but it's interesting. But as we get further and further down the road with this stuff, as people are learning to trust it, learning to rely upon it, learning that, the best way to do everything is just AI. Let AI think for you. We're going to have some problems, right? We recognize that. All right. Where am I going next? Dead Robin, I'm done with. Oh, all right. I went yesterday. This was interesting. Sometimes you do things that seem, oh, come on. See, now I just got a thing about cars being stolen in my area. Where is this? How long ago did this happen? My neighbor's car got stolen out of his driveway 2 days ago. Got it back, though, in like a couple hours, thanks to GPS and stuff. Thugs added again, checking cars. When was this posted? Oh, that's a while ago. That's August 14th. Okay. No big deal. I saw an article about an arrest of like 4 people. Pretty close. The car thefts are happening pretty close to where I live. And 4 people were arrested for this ring of thefts. That was a couple days ago. And then yesterday I learned that my neighbor had his car stolen the day before. So then I just saw this and thought it was a new story and thought, oh my God, it's continuing to happen. But it's not. It's a story from a couple days ago. So, all right, we'll let that go. Moving on. Sorry, I got distracted because I'm a regular person. And when a thing pops up at the top of my screen, it's like, hey, they're stealing cars right down the street. Like, I had to look. I apologize. So yesterday, this is cool. My son Zach plays guitar and drums and piano and saxophone and everything. He's like very into music. Has taught him, he takes saxophone at school, but the rest of it is just kind of self-taught. And as he's now 13, he kind of is hanging out with other people who are equally moved by music and equally into performing and being around and caring about rock music, which is awesome. More rock than anything else. He likes the Beastie Boys and stuff, but like guitar, like that's the thing. Went upstairs yesterday and just heard nothing but Megadeth riffs. Like, all right. While my wife's working on stuff like on her computer, like actual work, right down the hall is just Zach playing Megadeth. Never a full song, always just really aggressive riffs. But yesterday, his buddy Robert, who's like a year or probably 1 year older than him, But I've been hearing he's got a band, and they have had gigs, and they're calling themselves Underage, and they're playing at the Borderland Festival thing. And I think they did that last year, too. But they were playing just a gig at a record store. So it was a record store on Main Street in Williamsville called Hi-Fi Hits, which is a super cool place anyway. And then in the back, they have like a little stage area, and they have a little bar. And these kids, none of whom could have been older than like 15. But there's 5 of them in the band, 2 girls. One's a singer and keyboard player. Robert plays guitar. And then there's a bass player and a drummer. And like the drummer and the keyboard player, brother and sister, and their parents were there, and it was their anniversary, and it was somebody's birthday. And there were like 50 or 60 people probably inside this record store to watch these kids play a mix of like classic rock, but also like I walked in and they were playing Living on a Prayer, which I thought was weird for a bunch of, 15-year-olds. But they played Fortunate Son, and they played Paranoid. They played Yellow by Coldplay. I missed New Orleans is Sinking, but it was really good. And I want to say it just felt really cool to go in and see teenagers that are still keeping live music alive. Like, that's what they want to do. I feel like if this is 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there's nothing but rock bands, garage bands. And to see these kids out there doing Ozzy, out there doing CCR, and mixing in the hip, like it was just cool. It just felt good to know that while rock music does not dominate the charts in any way anymore, I mean, it's not gone. It's just not pop music right now. And it hasn't been for a long time. But to see kids carrying it on like that just felt really cool and fun. So I liked it. The name of the band is Underage. They're kids. They're trying. They're not perfect yet. But it was cool. And, here's the other thing that I thought was interesting. Do you know the song It's a Long Way to the Top, If You Want to Rock and Roll, by AC/DC? It's on the album High Voltage. It's the first song on that album. I've had that album since high school. So I've known that song forever. I have always thought of it as one of my favorite AC/DC songs, and also a song that most people don't know. But then it appeared it was, I think, the final scene in School of Rock, the Jack Black movie, that was essentially exactly what I watched yesterday. Just kids playing music and throwing back to old school rock and roll. That song, I think, from being in that movie, has become like a kids rock anthem, and never would have been. Like, I remember that being surprising to hear that song in that movie when it first came out, which that's got to be 20 years old, right? When did School of Rock come out? I gotta look this up. Then I'm gonna talk to Scott Wilson. Well, I'll have to play a song. I'll play It's a Long Way. School of Rock. No, not the store. 2003. Okay, so yeah, that movie is 22 years old, and it was the first time I remember hearing the song It's a Long Way to the Top anywhere but like playing it on my own. I've seen AC/DC live multiple times. They don't play it. But I just knew the song from the album. And then Jack Black puts it in the movie, or they put it in the movie with Jack Black. And now, if you are a 15-year-old guitar player, one of the songs you need to know is It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll. And I just think that's cool. So they only played, 10 or 12 songs. But one of them in the set was that one that I think was it was like my secret AC/DC song until that movie came out. And now with 22 years of, like, every kid who plays in a band at age 14 or 15 has seen the movie School of Rock, right? And then there's a place called School of Rock that teaches kids music, and it's a franchisable thing, and they have it around here. Any videos I've ever seen, I've got a buddy who's got a kid in one of those. 18% of the videos I see from School of Rock is somebody playing It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll. I think that movie turned that into a kid's song, which I think is pretty cool for what was sort of like a hidden gem of AC/DC until that time. All right, I'm going to play that song, and then we'll talk to Scott Wilson I'm Brad Ryder. It's Ryder Radio. It's episode 150. 150. And it's Friday. This portion of Ryder Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at ryderradio.com.
Let's check in with Ryder Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
Yeah, let's do that. What's up, Scott?
What's up, man?
How are you? How are things?
Good.
How are things?
Good.
Football.
I'm excited.
Football,
man.
football.
Week.
It really is. Have you started packing?
No, but I do have. I've got on my phone. I've got like what would probably be a page and a half of notes on Minnesota and our team, and then it also says buy sunglasses.
That's a good idea.
I need some new sunglasses. They broke, and I have thought about the fact that I will have to stop at Wegmans here eventually in the coming days to try and get whether it be Cheez-Its or trail mix, something of the like.
Yeah.
Because that's usually a room thing.
It's a staple.
That happens.
Especially for night games. We need something there. We don't want to have to leave every time you're slightly hungry. You want to have something.
We usually end up skipping that breakfast. So
right.
we're going to arrive at Wednesday. We'll eat the dinner and then sleep. And then after about an hour and a half of your alarm going off, I'll wake you up. And
we'll have some trail mix.
Yeah, we'll have some trail mix. And then eventually, John Fuller or Paul will text us and say, hey, we're going to, John's Burgers down the street. If you'd like to come.
Yeah.
We'll have some lunch and shoot the breeze. But
mine is not so much.
There has to be a snack. I've been more thinking about snacks than I have actually what
I'm thinking about chargers and like plugs and stuff I'm going to need. I can't break down my broadcast equipment until like right beforehand, but any like extra stuff. I'm like, if we want to do this, we're going to need a couple microphones, or we're going to need this, we're going to need that. So it's like memory cards, things like that I'm trying to just make sure as they get ticked off, like I tick off the things in my head. Like, all right, we got that one. I'm struggling though because I cannot find my earbuds. So while you need to buy sunglasses, I am fearful that I'm going to have to buy more earbuds, and then I'm just going to find the other ones as soon as I purchase these. But that's absolutely mandatory to have earbuds for the flights. You never know how long you're going to be on a bus. I need to lock in on the earbud thing. So I've been just like frantically digging through because I know they're around. They're in a pocket, or they're in a bag that I brought back from baseball, or I don't know. But I've got two sets that I'm looking for, and that's like, it matters a lot to me. 6 days in advance of going, or 5 days in advance of going, I just keep thinking about headphones and how I don't have them.
Yeah, you got to have those. It's probably what, an hour 40 minutes to Minneapolis.
I don't know.
I would assume.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. And then you also have to factor in time on the tarmac, just to got to get them papers filed.
Yeah.
But in the air, probably an hour 45 minutes. And you know what? Now that you're bringing this up, it's occurring to me that I might have to count out your pistachios if we're still doing that.
Oh, what are we doing?
Challenge.
Wow. Okay. Is that this one? I've been treading.
It's not mandatory. I'm just. You reminded me of it here.
How many pistachios am I supposed to eat?
Hold on. Let me get my paper.
All right. I'll check on the plane.
I have a paper in my car with things that I have to do at work.
Yeah.
And then I also have Brad's going to eat 338 pistachios in 5 minutes.
Oof. That still doesn't seem like...
The record is 338 shelled and eaten, so they had to shell them. So we're just going to give you to them, you said just raw, no shells.
Yeah, well, I think the shelling is the thing. That's the skill.
I can probably do 338 in 5 minutes.
I think I can. Without shelling. The shelling is what takes the time. That's not a massive... How many... All right, how much would that weigh? What would 338 pistachios
see how many
in no shell?
Is.
whey.
Oh God!
All right, what would put 338 pistachios in no shell weigh? A whole single pistachio with shell weighs about 0.02 ounces. The kernel or nut meat, so I'm going to eat just a bunch of nut meat, pistachio nut meat, makes up 48 to 50% of the total weight. So we're talking about 0.01 ounces per pistachio. 100 grams, lower estimate. We're talking about somewhere between 169 and 270 grams of pistachio. What is that in deep dive? What's that in pounds? I speak pounds. This is America. All right. Translate.
Pounds.
It's not 12 or 13 pounds of pistachios. Is it? All right. 0.21. Look, it's a quarter pound of pistachios. Quarter pound. 0.212. That's nothing, man.
All right.
338 pistachios without shells, weighing approximately 96.33 grams, would be about 0.212 pounds. Less than a quarter pound of pistachios. Yes, I can eat less than a quarter pound of pistachios in 5 minutes. Yes. I'm dreading the donut one. The pistachio one.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. Maybe we do that instead of the flight. Maybe we do that on that Thursday edition of Hotel Minneapolis Rider Radio.
Yeah, we'll do it on the show. We'll do it live.
Okay.
All right. So what else is going on with football? Let's stick. Did you watch the Giants?
Who the hell cares about the Giants?
I do.
I'm so jacked up about the pistachios now. I can't think about anything else. No. All right. I have to recenter.
I think it would be fun to just go. I don't know if they still do. They don't do bulk food like they used to. I'm sure there's somewhere you can do it, but like to just go to Tops or Wegmans or something and count out 338 pistachios and put them in a bag, and then I'll give them to you, and you can spend the night shelling them, and then I'll just eat them, and then who's the fool?
No, I'm not. Yeah, no, that's not happening. No, absolutely not.
No?
No. We're not doing any of that.
Are we going to shell them together?
No, they're just, you can just buy them shelled.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The hard thing is you got to count them.
Right.
But
I can count to 338. I'll use AI.
So the Giants.
Yeah.
They played last night. They were on Amazon Prime.
I was rooting for them because I don't like the Patriots.
Well, they took care of business. There's no doubt about that. They've scored over 30 points now in all their preseason games. And as a Giants fan, the part that sucks is that I know that none of it matters.
Right.
None of that matters. None of it is real. All of it is fake, but it really feels good. It's been a long time since that, and I've got a lot of Giants takes as far as the NFL is concerned, because for my money, the New York Giants are the most interesting team in the NFL this year. And I know that I'm a little bit biased because I am a fan.
No, but there's stuff there. There's stuff there. They're traditionally not a super exciting franchise, and there's stuff there there's stories to follow.
Because through this preseason, I think one thing, I'll get to my point as far as why they're the most interesting. I think the number one thing when you look at the Giants, and it was pointed out in the broadcast last night a lot, like, look at how into the game everybody is, and the vets that aren't playing are like always the first ones on the field to congratulate the guys, and everybody seems jacked up and excited, and it's a complete flip from the way they've been the last year and a half over there, and it seems like there's been a bit of a change. Oh, and the first thing that pops into my head when I'm hearing that is, man, what a difference it makes for a team starting a season when they're not thinking our quarterback sucks.
Yeah.
We know it. And last year, they started the season thinking, listen, this is going to suck because our quarterback sucks and everyone here knows it. Everyone here knows it. And we're going to try and get by. We're going to try and do it. But everyone knows Daniel Jones sucks. So this sucks. And so everybody has that attitude. And now this year, they've had, 3 quarterbacks come in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart. And even last night, Tommy DeVito looked great. He wasn't playing anybody, but, he was like 15 of 17 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like he looked really sharp. Like the change in attitude of your team right off the bat has to be so different than it was the last 2 years. And I think you can even see it in Daboll's face, knowing
relief
of like, all right, I have some options here. 1 and 2, I have real quarterback play here. I've got real options, and it's not the garbage that we've been dealing with over the last 3 years after making the bad decision of paying Daniel Jones instead of Saquon Barkley 2 years ago, which is really why they're in the situation that they're in. That was a bad decision after a playoff run that, in hindsight, Daniel Jones was carried on the backs of them going 17 games of purposely avoiding letting him do anything. Like that was the season. He didn't have a lot of touchdown passes because they rarely let him do anything. It was run. That's it. And it worked, and they played some decent defense along the way. So they're still trying to dig themselves out, and it felt like this preseason, at least, has felt like for the first time there's some light at the end of that tunnel. And it has to start with the fact that the team, the players, knows that while it might not be Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes there, it ain't Daniel Jones.
Right.
And that's cool. And everyone's excited.
Right. And it's varying levels of skill. Like, I'm interested in all 3 of those quarterbacks, and DeVito would be the fourth, obvious, but
right.
Obviously you're interested in a high draft pick who looks very good by all accounts. People have liked him in camp. Everything I've seen of him in the preseason, he looks the part of. Obviously it's not all there yet, but there's something. To the point where I had a thing open. I just went on Google News Sports, and the top story is Jackson Dart. Russell Wilson is the starter. When my number is called, I'm going to ball. That's one headline. The next one, rookie Jackson Dart gets the start in preseason finale for Giants and continues to make plays. The next one, Giants QB Jackson Dart caps impressive preseason with 3rd touchdown pass in as many appearances. The next one, New York Giants rookie quarterback Jackson Dart looks like a future star. But you're not relying on that and saying we're pouring everything into that, because you've got the Russell Wilson thing, who at times still looked, at least last year, I haven't seen him at all this year, but still looked the part of a very good quarterback. It wasn't perfect, but he had a game against the Bills, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, where I was like, the numbers weren't great, but he was very much in control. And for all the bad things people have been saying about him and how it's not a good fit, he still looked all right to me. And then you've got Jameis, who is about the most fun player to watch play quarterback in the history of the NFL if you don't care about the outcome, because it's going to be wild. He just does not care, and it's, the fact that 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in the same year very much explains exactly who that dude is, and that is fun to watch as a fan of other teams. Like, I don't think I want to just trust Jameis Winston to be my QB, but something fun is happening at quarterback regardless, and there was no fun to be had with Daniel Jones. So, yeah, that will change the demeanor of your entire team. Yeah,
and Jameis, Jameis is one of my reasons why they are going to be the most interesting team. First of all, he's highly entertaining. He seems to really lighten that locker room a little bit. Everybody seems to be a little bit less on edge there, which I think was very much needed for the Giants. And like you said, if you liked Brett Favre, watching him play, he's Brett Favre just with like a quarter of the ability. And he will throw any pass at any time, under any circumstances, any situation. It doesn't matter. He's got 3 guys draped on him. He's trying to throw the ball 30 yards downfield. He does not care. He does not care. He is throwing that ball. If you call a play and the main idea is to pump that ball on a post, that ball's going to the post. There may be 2 safeties there, but he's thinking, I can get that in there. And in a way, that is the exact opposite of Daniel Jones, who, if there was somebody in the same zip code, he's just not going to throw it. And then he's going to hold it and 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 sack and fumble. And now the defense is back on the field. So I think that he's very entertaining. He's not there. But I think that they're the most entertaining team or most interesting team because you've got a GM and coach that are linked. You've got an ownership that at the end of last year said they're coming back next year, but patience is running thin, and I need to see that this is going somewhere.
Yep.
So the writing is on the wall, not just from outsiders saying they're on the hot seat. That's the owner saying, I'm sick of winning 3 games. We've done it 2 years in a row now. We need to come out the other side. They've now proven that their quarterback that they just drafted has a little bit of something there. He's got some juice. He looks interesting. He can run and move, and he's got a good arm, and he's making good decisions, and he's got 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing, and no interceptions in the preseason. He has looked really good and confident, and the team seems to really like him. But they're also making the prudent decision to not start him and sit him. And they're trying to thread the needle of we have to win now while also doing the right thing with the quarterback. Because I think a lot of people it'd be very easy to say, well, we're starting a new quarterback. You can't really judge us yet. They're saying, no, we have to win now. We understand that we need to win and show some progress here. And we also understand that the right thing to do by this quarterback is to allow him to sit and learn and come of age properly and take this in from the sidelines from 2 quarterbacks that have started, one of which has been to 2 Super Bowls, won in MetLife Stadium, and let him learn. It kind of gets glossed over. We don't talk about the fact that Mahomes didn't play his first year. He was allowed to sit. He was allowed to see what it looked like to be a professional for a year. And he was allowed to transition his mind and the reads out of a spread offense in college into what an NFL system looks like, which is this very similar thing to Jackson Dart. I'm not saying that they're going to be the same. I'm just saying that mentally coming out of college, it's a very similar situation as far as, they're running at Ole Miss an offshoot of the old Baylor offense. So there's a lot of differences there going to the NFL, and allowing his brain to adapt to that and learn from that is going to really benefit the organization. At the same time, they got to win right now. They've got a lot of talent on defense, and I think they've made now 2 years in a row really good draft picks. They've got guys that can play. And they've gotten themselves out of the cap hell that was there from the previous regime now. And they're in a good spot to put it all together. But they've got to do it. And now, on top of that, they also have the toughest schedule in the NFL.
How does that happen?
It's just bad luck. It's just bad luck. They've got two playoff teams in their division, in Washington and the Eagles, who won the Super Bowl. And then you also have 2 matchups against Dallas, who last year were terrible, but also didn't have Dak Prescott for over half the year. So that kind of drastically changed their season as well. I don't think they're very good. I also don't think they're as bad as what their record was last year. And then, they've got the rotating division schedules and have a tough division to face. So, their first 5 games are, it's Washington, Philly, and the Chiefs. Right off the bat.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot going. There's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of spinning plates there, and I just think what happens there is that if they come out of that 2-1, then everything is different. But if they come out of that opening 3 games 0-3, it's gonna start to get late real early in New York. And I think I think Dable's done a good job, and I think Shane, like they've both done a pretty good job with the hand that they were dealt. They just
made a mistake on Jones, and that screws you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do there. And then to be in the spot, like you said, where they draft a guy, but he doesn't have to play because you've got veterans there. I think that's ideal. You know, you mentioned Mahomes. I always think of Aaron Rodgers just because I'm old. But I think of that being when a lot of teams were just taking, you know, if you draft Peyton Manning, you're so bad that you had to get it. Like, okay, number 1 overall pick, just put him in. Whatever. We sucked last year. We'll suck this year. We'll be a little better next year. Let's try to make the playoffs in year 3 or 4 and go from there. But when you're picking, you know, E.J. Manuel, because you're so desperate to get a quarterback that you're disregarding all common sense because you just think if we get it right, I know we're hoping for a magic trick here, but if we get it right, everything's better. So you draft a guy and then you throw him in there, and you shouldn't have even picked him. You certainly shouldn't have picked him as high as you did, and you certainly shouldn't start him right away, but teams are so desperate to do it. I think almost everyone does it wrong. And to put yourself in a spot to do it the right way lets you kind of accomplish dueling goals that seem like they should be in opposition of one another, but really they're not. We're trying to make the franchise better long term, but we're also trying to do it right now. And having multiple veterans on the roster while you're bringing the kid along makes total sense. And that is interesting to me, especially considering the hot seat part of it and also just the Buffalo connection of it. And, you know, Dable's the only head coach in NFL history that I've known prior to him being a coach. Like, he's from here. Like, we went to school together. I know that guy. So I'm rooting for him, and I'm rooting for Shane based on his Bill's connection and just the fact that I want this group to succeed. So it does sound right. It is interesting, and you've convinced me that I care more about the Giants than I thought that I did. So thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. And now you get to be on the the ship of sadness as it goes out towards Lady Liberty in the harbor, only to sink.
Nah,
Here eventually,
man.
It's that they should have a good defense this year. I mean, their defensive line should be very, very good. Carter, their first round draft pick, their third, he's looked very good in the preseason and in some of the clips from some of the joint practices. He's looked really, really good. So if there's an ability to have him on the field with Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence, that should be a very, very difficult to block defensive line that could be really kind of a game changer. And as a Giants fan, that's always how they've won. This isn't a situation where, they've never had a good offense. It's always been run the ball, take care of it, play fairly conservatively, and have a defensive line that, can whip guys. That's it. That's the only way they've ever won. And at least one side of that ball is taken care of from the outside. They got a good defensive line. They got a tackling machine for a middle linebacker, and hopefully they can change the game a little bit and help the offense out, get going. If the offensive line is actually decent for the Giants, which I think that they're going to be a little bit better, then things could. Then you start looking at not being a total embarrassment like they were last year with all the injuries and stuff. But if that offensive line is bad, they're getting fired.
When you look at the division right now, what do you see? I mean, obviously, you've got the defending Super Bowl champ, and they should be real good again. When you're thinking about Washington, are you expecting that to just continue? Like, I'm always hesitant. Daniels, to me, is in the C.J. Stroud situation right now. It's like, yeah, that was awesome. That was really cool. I was really impressed. But we're not just putting him in the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL and assuming that moving forward. I would not be surprised if there's a little bit of a step back with Washington. And then there's also the part of it where he just reminds me physically so much of RG3 that I'm just kind of like waiting. And I'm sure there are people in Washington feeling the same way. Like, all right, we had this fun for a year before too, and we've got this very slight, very mobile, very talented player that doesn't look to have the body to hold up to NFL. So I'm a little hesitant to just assume that team is as good as it was last year. And everything I'm reading about the Cowboys is that they're a complete and utter disaster. I don't know. I don't pay attention enough to know if that's correct or if my perception is correct. But I don't know. What do you see as a viable finish in the division for the Giants?
Probably, realistically, I would think probably third. But you never know if something happens to Jaden Daniels, that season is over, especially early in the season. So there's a possibility to get to second. I think the Eagles are going to be
run away with it.
Those are the Eagles. Yeah,
Okay.
they've got everybody locked up. They're bringing pretty much everybody back. That matters. So I don't think that there's going to be any movement there. I think you've got the two major holdouts situations right now in that NFC East, and that's Micah Parsons, and that is turning even more bitter. That
one got crazy
a couple weeks ago. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and I said this feels different because it doesn't feel like it's about money. It feels like it's about respect and how things were handled. And that to me is harder to reconcile than just you came in with a low offer to start.
It's Eichel.
It seems to be very bitter.
Yeah.
Parsons just put out a TikTok like yesterday where it's just clips of him blowing kisses to the crowd in Cowboy stuff. So it's like, him saying goodbye, and then his agent, there's rumors that Jerry Jones reached out to his agent. His agent told him to shove his contract up his ass, and stuff like that. And so that to me is, that's hard. That's a hard one to solve, and I'm not sure if it does. Especially, and the thing that sucks for Parsons is, let's say he says, all right, fine, I'm going to play out this last year and then I'm gone. Well, they can still franchise tag you.
Have you listened to Jerry Jones on the Michael Irvin podcast?
I heard snippets of him where he, it seems like it's gotten away from him a little bit. I feel like he's not afraid to have things escalate because he likes the attention, but it also seems like things have escalated a little bit more than he would have wanted now. And it's making him a little bit uncomfortable because he wants to keep Micah Parsons on his team. And every day that he keeps messing around and keeps doing this, it looks less and less like that's going to happen. And, on Washington, Terry McLaurin, I don't know what the holdup is. Give the man his money. He was there through the downtimes and carried your franchise as a really good player, the best player on their team for years.
Yeah.
And now they finally get the quarterback. He goes off, has a massive year, and now they don't want to pay him? Come on. Pay him his money. If there's one thing, you might not agree with all the Bills' decisions as far as signing guys, but I think part of the reason why there's such a good culture there is that when they draft their own and they show up and they play well, they give them the money.
Yep.
And
yeah, that's the Cook. That's why that's why the Cook holdout thing was so pleasant. Like, it wasn't even just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm not gonna play right now. And like, yeah, we'll get it done. Yeah, okay, it's finished. And he's fine. So this is 3 minutes and 23 seconds. I just want to at least start it. This is Jerry Jones talking about the Micah Parsons situation on a podcast. He's being interviewed by Michael Irvin, which is weird, but here it is. I just want to, if we can, all right.
I have a journalist, Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
To give more money than has ever been given in terms of guaranteed money than anyone ever has as far as a defensive player. I've done that. Now, I am the cat that writes the check. Okay? Now, Mike has got 3 years with the Cowboys left. He's got 3 years. At some point, somebody has to have the say over the other. At some point, it has to be that way. My job is managing the check. Okay? Micah's got to do the playing. Where's the least important part of this whole equation we're talking about? What is the least incremental part of the whole equation?
The money.
The attorney or the agent.
Damn it.
Okay. He works for Micah. Okay. He's not the principal here in any way. In any way. They're in here to make their percentage. They're in here to.
Okay. I think that's enough. I think we get the idea. So that's the sentiment right there. I get it.
The agent.
Yeah, I get it. That's old crazy rich guy, and whatever. He's crazy rich. He's also maybe a little nuts. But that is a guy, the way you're talking about it, I was picturing, Parsons has been offended by the way he's been dealt with. This is Jerry Jones offended by an agent getting in the way of him negotiating with the player. So I see where it's coming from, and I don't see how that gets fixed without an agent getting tossed out. But you don't toss out the agent who works for you just because the owner says you got to get rid of this agent. So, how do they resolve this? I have no idea. It's ugly, which is fine.
How they resolve it is 2 first-round picks and somebody else from the Bills.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant by this is fine. If you would like to play football, I got room. I definitely got room over here.
And you hear Jerry there speaking about he's got 3 more years left. That's this year, and you can franchise him tag 2 more.
Right.
So he's just counting them as years on the contract, even though they're not years on the contract. They're just team options that they get to use, even if no matter what.
Right.
So it kind of speaks a little bit to how both sides view it. And, I would think the agent's going to be pissed that you tried to go around me. And that's how guys get taken advantage of. That's a linebacker. That's not somebody that is up on the current going rates for edge players in the NFL.
Right. That's what
you know what I mean?
That's what they're paying him for. Yeah, right. That's the whole point.
And Jerry's talking about like he's acting like this is just a hanger-on trying to get money out of Micah Parsons, when in actuality Micah is saying, I play football, I don't know this, so I hired an expert at this, and I'm going to give him 10%. Because he's an expert and he's going to be able to get me the best deal that I want possible. That's the deal. And trying to go around that seems manipulative, because it is.
Right.
And that has upset him, and ironically has also upset Jerry Jones, that I'm rich, I want to do handshake deals. Because if the other side doesn't have the full picture of what's going on, I get to have the best deal.
Right.
I mean, he's saying I offered him the most money by a non-quarterback.
Most guaranteed money of a defensive player in NFL history.
And still be way under what he's worth.
That's true. Yeah, because they go up. This is just the way that it happens. The guy who gets paid the most is the guy who got paid most recently. And to pretend that we operate in a different world than that, it's like, I'm paying him more than the Bills ever paid Bruce Smith. Well, yeah, right. This is 2025. Like, that's just the way things go. It's like when these movies gross the most money of any movie in history. It's like, well, the ticket costs $18 now instead of $4. So, congratulations on grossing the most money, but that's just the situation we're in. So, it's a little, it's manipulative language. You're right.
I'm very rarely on the side of an owner anyway in these types of situations, unless it's my team and I want a deal. But I just, I don't see how Micah Parsons would be in the wrong here. I don't. You shouldn't be doing negotiations with a player without the agent, unless the player has released the agent, or unless the player and agent have discussed the fact that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, or it's the Lamar situation. I mean? Yeah, right, where it's just like, no, I'm doing this on my own. This is what I want. That's different. And that's, what led to a lot of his problems, too, because he didn't have someone who was a professional that did just that as his job. But,
right.
Whatever.
You want to put him on your agent on speakerphone and talk one-on-one with the guy? Fine. That's fine. But to say I'm hiring representation because I don't know. It's just, it's very similar to
cops not letting you talk to your lawyer.
Right. Would you defend yourself in a murder case? No. And that's not because you're guilty. It's because you're not an expert. I'd like to hire an expert, please. If your hot water tank explodes,
yeah,
you want to call a plumber, and it's the same type of situation. And Jerry just talks about it like it's, I don't know. It comes off when Jerry talks very much like, here's this guy who just wants to milk 10% off this player, right, and I'm trying to be the good guy and just give him all this money, and he doesn't need all that. It's like, yeah, okay, dude.
Yeah, right. As if Micah Parsons invented the concept of an agent. It's like, I don't know what he's trying to do. I'm trying to make a deal with this guy. I don't know who this other jerk is standing in the way. Why is he on the phone? It's just, let's see. Cowboys have always had problems with their contract negotiations. I believe Jerry Jones is out of touch and can't relate to players. Well, yeah, of course. That's there. All right, let's get off the Cowboys. What else are we doing here before we wrap things up here on episode 150?
You want to do a little Hallmark game? I got one.
Hallmark game.
One set.
Okay, yeah, I'm in for a Hallmark game. I'm going to play the thing, though.
Let's check in with Writer Radio's senior Hallmark correspondent, Scott Wilson.
All right, remind us what how the Hallmark game works. You're going to give us 3 movie titles and plot synopsises, and then I'm going to figure out which one's fake. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Three movies.
Okay.
And plots.
Yep.
1 is fake, 2 are real.
Okay.
You have to select.
Okay. It's Hallmark season, man. Hallmark season's coming. Football equals Hallmark season. Let's go.
That's right. Okay. Movie number 1. Flip That Romance. Rival house flippers who once dated, Julie and Lance, end up owning dual sides of a rundown duplex. They start a friendly contest. Trying to out DIY each other, rekindling their romance along the way. Flip That Romance.
Flip That Romance. Okay. All right. Number 1. I'm going to write it down this time so you don't have to repeat.
Movie 2. Ladybug Trail. Ashley's grandmother has always been known as the town matchmaker. When she visits, she learns it's not her grandmother, but the nature trail behind the house that has been the real Cupid, and Ashley hopes that Ladybug Trail can find her soulmate too.
Okay.
That's movie 2.
Ladybug Trail.
3.
Yep.
Love Struck Cafe.
Mm.
Aspiring architect Megan returns to her hometown where she must close a business deal of her childhood mentor's home, help out at her father's cafe, and confront lingering feelings for her childhood sweetheart Joe, who broke her heart.
It's Love Struck Cafe.
That's Love Struck Cafe.
Is Love Struck 1 word or 2?
That's 1 word.
1 word. Okay. Just trying to.
You're not Googling this, are you?
I'm not Googling. No. I'm writing it down and look. No, I wrote down the 3 titles.
Cheating.
No. What would the point of that be? No, I wrote down the 3 titles so I didn't actually have to have you repeat them. So Flip That Romance is the house flippers, rival house flippers, who somehow wind up owning each half of a duplex, which is not how duplexes work, so I'm a little suspicious there. Ladybug Trail. I kind of want to hear the description again because at the end it sounded like Ladybug Trail was a person, and that confused me. So if you could read me the description of Ladybug Trail again.
Sure. Ashley's grandmother's always been known as the town matchmaker. When she visits, she learns it's not her grandmother, but the nature trail behind the house that has been the real Cupid. And Ashley hopes that Ladybug Trail can find her soulmate too.
Oh, okay. Ladybug Trail can find Ashley's soulmate. It sounded like Ladybug Trail itself was looking for a soulmate, so I misread that and thought it was, okay, it's Ashley. Ashley's the problem. And then Love Struck Cafe. Love Struck Cafe sounded, I think that one's real. I didn't. There were no red flags in that one that made me think Scott made it up. What
would be a red flag?
Well, I had them in Ladybug Trail. I thought you said that the trail was trying to find love, so I thought that was weird, and that didn't sound like something Hallmark would write. But I also don't think you would call something Ladybug Trail. Flip That Romance seems the title seems a little Scott to me. The plot does not. The plot sounds perfect. All of these plots are perfect. All of them, they're perfect. These are perfect movies. These would all get approved. Every one of them. Like, if you just told whoever greenlights these things for Hallmark, if you just told him that he approved all 3 of these at a meeting last week, he'd be like, yeah, right, of course I did. Like, you could trick him or her. It's probably a her, huh? Right? Thinking about it. I'm going to say, oof, man. Why would you say Ladybug Trail? What would make you call something Ladybug Trail? I'm going to say that fake one is Flip That Romance. That's my final answer. Flip That Romance is fake.
Okay, so I'm going to reveal to you one that is real.
Oh, I forgot about this part of the game. Then we have the Monty Hall problem. Good. All right.
Okay.
Give me a real one.
Love Struck Cafe is real.
Yeah, damn it. So you did nothing. Right. You did nothing there for me. That had to be the one you would reveal because I gave you too much information. See, this is where the Monty Hall problem gets all messed up. I gave you too much info, so you knew which one to take away from me and then just leave me in the exact same spot that I was before. And you know that I'm inclined to flip, but wow, this is tough. This is psychological warfare, really. You think you're just doing...
I feel like this is closer than the last time.
You think that it's... like I
feel like I did a better job.
A more difficult game for me to play. Yeah. Okay. So Love Struck Cafe is legit. Ladybug Trail, Grandma has she's the matchmaker, but really people just fall in love on Ladybug Trail, and hopefully that will work out for Renee or whatever her name was. Ashley. Flip That Romance. Read me the Flip That Romance synopsis again.
Rival house flippers who once dated, Julie and Lance, end up owning dual sides of a rundown duplex. They start a friendly contest trying to out-DIY each other, rekindling their romance along the way.
That's the fake one. I'm staying with that. That's the fake one. I want to watch it. But I think it's fake. I think you did a perfect job here, but I think you did that one. I think that's you.
Okay. The fake movie is Ladybug Trail.
You got me, man.
Sorry.
No, you did great.
Yeah.
You're supposed
to. Romance is real.
Well, then we can watch it. When's that on? Tell me Wednesday.
I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Tell me Wednesday.
I should add that to the game.
Oh, I would like to. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see that one. Oh, man. All right. Well, great job. Talk to me about your thought process. Ladybug Trail seems so crazy that I didn't think you came up with it. Like, I thought that was the goal. I thought that sounded fake, which would make it real.
I tell you what,
there's so many levels to this. Yeah.
Last time we played, you were able to go basically 2 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
You did switch up the first time with the Monty Hall problem, but
it was because of the Monty Hall thing.
Right away.
Yep.
Because I think that I was taking an approach of not making fun of it, but this seems like something they would say, and you were immediately identifying.
Oh, no, the phone cut out. The phone cut out during the breakdown, the post-game breakdown. He'll call back. As soon as I'm not going to try calling him because that's going to get stupid. I'll just get, like, no answer, or it'll say call failed or something, so I'm just ready. Yeah, there he is. He's calling back. All right, we got you back.
All right, sorry. Yeah. So I was going, I don't want to say making fun of it, but I was trying to be clever.
Yeah.
And in the process, you were like, "That sounds clever," which means it's probably from you and not from Hallmark.
Right.
So I was like, "All right, damn, I gotta just
dumb it down a little."
I gotta
assimilate.
I gotta tone it down.
You had to assimilate.
Yeah, I had to tone it down a little bit. Although I really thought last time I would get you on 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 ghost.
Yes. I like that one.
You did not fall for that at all. You were like, nope, that's real. That's absolutely real. Right away, I'm like, damn, I thought you would think I thought that. But now I tried to tone it down a little bit, and it simply was I saw a ladybug today.
Okay, very good.
And thought, you know what?
Yeah.
That very much seems like something that Hallmark women would like.
Okay, well, I love this game. I love this game very much, and I am happy to play it every single time we speak. I am also happy to play it, once a week. Whenever you've got one ready to go, I'm in because I love it. It is chess. It is not checkers. It is psychological warfare. I feel like there's game theory going on. There's all kinds of math going through my head. And then also it's just all ridiculous. So Flip That Romance, we will watch. That's going to be awesome. Love Struck Cafe did not strike me as interesting as Flip That Romance. I'm confused about... See, that's the thing. I feel like here's where I could have gotten it right. You can't own half of a duplex, right? I know that. You know that. Hallmark doesn't. I should have gotten it based off of that. The whole point of a duplex is it's one property with two sides that are the same. So saying that they both own half of a duplex, it didn't check out. It didn't pass the smell test, but I still fell for it. And I should have known that's Hallmark and not you.
All
right.
Yeah.
I'm learning. It's like I'm AI and I'm becoming aware. Like it's all. This is good. I'm getting reps.
Well, that's why I said, I had to.
Right. Well, you've got game film on me now.
Sharpen my game a little bit.
You've got film on me.
The titles last time really were a big tip off for you because they were clever. And I'm thinking the one thing I thought this time was, all right, I got to tone this down.
You got to hide it in plain sight.
Yeah. And I thought, how about, I see a ladybug. How about Ladybug Trail?
Yeah, that's good.
With a magical nature trail.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Chick named Ashley.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Nailed it. Good job. I also thought the names in Flip That Romance were pretty lame. Is it like Jennifer and Lance or something?
Yeah. Well, I thought that I would get you on the last one, actually, because
Love Struck Cafe?
Because it's an architect. And I last time we played, I remember saying I had a previous... I couldn't make it happen, but I had a previous thing where I was going to try and do like an artist and an architect in the Grand Canyon. I just couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
I just couldn't make it work.
Well,
so I thought, all right, this could be good because he'll remember that I said I was going to do something with an architect.
And then you found an architect one, and
architect would be like, and it would set off alarm bells for you, thinking, all right, I know
I've heard this before. Yeah, that's good.
And I'm going to go that way. And instead, you instantly saw through it and said, that's absolutely someone at the Hallmark Channel created. There's absolutely no.
This is a good game.
Room with for football games did not do that.
Right. Yep. I caught you on that one. All right. Well, thank you. And two things. One, we're going to have to do our UB football podcast at maybe I don't know yet how it's coming together. But there's going to be like a separate thing where we just do UB football as a podcast. That podcast may be included in part as a part of the regular Writer Radio show that airs 10 to noon. But the UB Football Podcast is something that we're going to be doing all season long and recording separately. And that might happen over the weekend. I mean, we've got to do some sort of a preview episode, right, before Minnesota.
Yes.
Or something. So we'll figure that out. We'll talk. Also, check your email because they just sent us an updated contract for that. And I just signed it while we were talking because they've added that to our like pay thing. The podcast is. I've
seen that before.
Yes.
I have signed mine.
Okay, I just got mine. So just making sure you get your cash, man. All right, thanks, Scott.
Anytime I get an email where it's like more money.
Yeah, sign this and we'll pay you. Yeah, good move. Mine did say reminder, so I must have missed the first one. Whatever. All right. Thanks, Scott Wilson. We'll talk to you next week, obviously in Minnesota, but before that, we'll talk to you on Monday.
All right. See you.
All right. There's Scott Wilson. He's our friend. He's our senior football correspondent. He's also our senior Hallmark correspondent. I'm going to play, I think, one song here, and then I've got a thing I want to get to on the other side. What do I have lined up? I always play this one, but I like it so much. I like this one enough that I've played it around the house enough and in the car enough that I've heard my son playing it on guitar, which I think is pretty cool. It's my favorite Cake song. It's his favorite Cake song. We were driving to Darien Lake, and I played it, and like, what is this? And I had to explain Cake to him and explain how, he's like, is this real music? Is this sampled? What's going on? I'm like, no, it's real. Like, you go see them live. I was questioning when I first, well, I've only seen them once, but I went to see Cake live. It's one of John Fuller's favorite bands, and he had an extra ticket. It was Art Park. This is, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And I went with him and his wife and some other people, and we were right in the front, and it was incredible. And this is my favorite song from them, and I've played it multiple times on the show, but I'm going to do it again because I like it. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com. That song is called Comfort Eagle from Cake off of their album Comfort Eagle. It is sometimes alternately listed as We Are Building a Religion, as you might expect because they keep saying that. But love that song. Super cool. All right, it's almost noon, so we're almost done. But the thing happened again where in getting ready for the show, one of the things that I follow is this account that occasionally just posts old music charts, old like Billboard charts. And the one that I stumbled across today, I have to use. It's from 1982. So this is me at age 7, about to turn 8. But this is also right when I started caring about music. Like, I remember stuff I've talked about, like Billy Joel the Stranger came out right before I turned 3, and I grew up like, I knew that song like I knew, or that album like I knew the theme from Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, that kind of stuff. The Muppets, like that stuff was all there. But me starting to go, I want to buy records, happens when I'm about 7 years old. So this stuff is all perfect. We had the list of all the songs that played, the first 50 songs that started MTV, and it was a load of crap. A lot of it was very, very bad. But it was all that existed at the time. This is legit. This is August 21st, 1982. The top 30 most played songs on American rock radio stations 43 years ago. So the featured chart today on this account, and what I did last time, and I'm going to do again, I'm not going to play any of the songs because that gets me in trouble for the podcast version. I can't do that. So I'm just going to count from 30 to 1 and see if I remember the songs. I've glanced over it. I haven't read every one of them, so we'll just see. All or most of the artists, every artist that I've noticed on here sounds familiar. Like, we did the MTV list. There were people I've never heard of that played during the first day of MTV. This is not that. These are all, at least I think, all bands that I've at least heard of. Don't know if I know the songs. We're going 30 to 1, and then we're ending the show. Okay? Here we are. At number... This is crazy that Billy Squier's got at least two songs on here. But number 30 is Billy Squier, Emotions in Motion. That is a song title I remember, but the tune does not immediately come to my head. This is the part where I sing a little bit. Not like full on like throaty renditions, but just to let you know. This is me like playing trivia by myself while you listen, if that makes sense. So bear with me. I know the title. I don't remember the song. All right. At 29, Jackson Browne, Somebody's Baby. Of course I know that one. That's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Although I didn't see that when I was 7. Waited a while on that, but yes. Gotta be somebody's baby. All right. Number 28, The Go-Go's, Vacation. I immediately jumped to a much more recent song called Vacation. I'm on vacation tonight. That my wife and kids liked a few years ago. But, of course, Go-Go's Vacation. Vacation all I ever wanted. Vacation, happy to get away. Okay, know that one. John Cougar, Hurt So Good is number 27. I have that on vinyl. John Cougar, American Fool, which features Hurt So Good and Jack and Diane are both on that album. And I got that in my original Columbia House Record Club, 8 for a penny or whatever. That's one of them. John Cougar. Still have it. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Summertime Blues. I don't remember them doing that song, but I know that song because that's a cover. Ain't no cure for the summertime blues. Fine. 25, The Alan Parsons Project. Eye in the Sky. Yes, of course. So that one is at 25. It dropped down from 19. At 24 and up from 27 is also the Alan Parsons Project. And no, I don't know this one. You're Gonna Get Your Fingers Burned. Definitely have never even heard of that song. Maybe if I heard it, I would recognize it, but the title does not sound familiar. At 23 is April Wine with Enough Is Enough. I know April Wine exists. I don't know that song. At 22, Nazareth. All I know is Hair of the Dog. I do not know Love Leads to Madness, but that was number 22 this week, 43 years ago, on the rock radio chart. This one's funny. I don't know the song, but I love the title. It's a Robert Plant solo song, and I remember the solo Plant stuff. Big Log. The stuff with the honey drippers. Come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I want to tell you. I like that. This song is called Worse Than Detroit, which I just think is awesome, and I kind of want to read the lyrics to it. So let's see if I can find those. Worse Than Detroit lyrics, because I'd like to know what's being compared to Detroit. All right, here are the lyrics. We're not going to play the song. Operator, give me Central. Help me try to get my baby on the line. Information, hear me calling. Find that number. Give it to me one more time. It's been so long since I saw her. Anything I'd give to hear the little girl of mine. Whatever it takes. Yeah, got to make it. Please connect me now before I lose my mind. Because I don't know. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. No, I don't know. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do. Tastes so good, sweet as honey. All she carries is impossible to use. It's built for speed, man. Watch her coming. Move so fast in someone else's shoes. What are you talking about, Rob? Look so fine, Lord. Watch him running. Anything she wants, you feel obliged to do. Keep your hands in your pockets. She can shift more gold than the king of Peru. But I don't know. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. No, I don't know. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. Somebody, yeah. Somebody, yeah. Man drink whiskey, drive him crazy in time. Woman sits and cries as day follow day. Man need lovin', keep him happy sometime. Woman get some when the honey dripper's on his way. But I don't know, no, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I don't know, I don't know. No, I don't know, no, I don't know, no, I don't know. Yes, no. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, take it. She can do it, babe. Oh, yes. She's sweet as honey. Ooh, yeah. And that song is called, obviously, Worse Than Detroit. Well, that did nothing. Moving on. That's number 21. At number 20, Asia, Only Time Will Tell. I love that song. You're leaving now. Bum, 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 bum. There's no disguising it. Which, was it that song or, no, Heat of the Moment. So Asia's song, Heat of the Moment, I remember even when I was a kid thinking, you're dating yourself. Because the song is a single and it has the lyric in it. And now you find yourself in 82. I'm like, this is not going to age well. No, you find yourself in 82. Even at age 7, I'm like, that's a weird lyric to put in a song. I'm okay with Fight the Power, starting with 1989, the number, another summer, get down. That one fits. Like it's marking a time in history and giving you context for the song. Like that song is about New York City and 1989 becoming 1990. Like it all fits. It's the theme, if you will, from Do the Right Thing. It's the song is like the main plot device. I'm using the wrong phrase there, but the song is a part of the movie. It's not just in the movie. If you haven't seen Do the Right Thing, please see Do the Right Thing. That one makes sense, but Asia telling me I find myself in 82, knowing that I'd be talking about it in 2025. Well, I didn't know for sure, but I knew it would feel weird, and I was right. All right, number 18, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Wasted on the Way. I love that song. There's so much time to make up. Let the water come and carry us away. Time we have wasted on the way. I'm doing it out of order, but I really like that song. It's cool. And it was like just a hit song when I was 7. I didn't know CSN then. I didn't know the history of them. I didn't know about, Ohio, Woodstock, and that kind of stuff. I liked the song, and it holds up. All right, number 17 is John Waite, Change. Don't know the song. Maybe I would know it if I heard it. I know John Waite, but I don't know that song. Number 16, The Clash. The Clash. Should I Stay or Should I Go? That was an actual hit. I kind of don't remember that being a hit. I feel like I came to that song much later. REO Speedwagon is at 15 with Keep the Fire Burning. And I can kind of hear the way that they phrase the chorus, like the title in the chorus, but that's about it. Don't have a real strong recollection of that one. At 14, Steve Winwood. Song is called Still in the Game. Never heard of it. 13, Fleetwood Mac, Gypsy. So again, Fleetwood Mac was a new band to me then. That was just a song on the radio. I did not yet own Rumors because I was 7. I didn't know the story. The drug-fueled, sex-crazed, wife-swapping, all this stuff that was going on there. I didn't know that. That was just a weird song called Gypsy. I can picture the video in the desert, the sand. Number 12, Robert Plant, Pledge Pin. What? Robert Plant had a number 12 hit on rock radio with something called Pledge Pin? Robert Plant's lyrics leave something to be desired. Worse Than Detroit was bad. Let's check on Pledge Pin real quick. Pledge Pin lyrics. All right, this one's shorter. I don't mind this one. All right, watch them go, because one by one they rise to fall. Hearts in tow, it's just a game. She's only having fun. She laughs and turns away surprised. She mocks, it's all the same. Tonight's the loss, tomorrow's gain, and in the end, it's so. Stand in line as one by one they march in time in the wings. I stand and watch these foolish things go by. Just preparing for the play. Aloof, she moves. The confidant with practiced step. The merry dance, she executes her roll. As the cavalcade begins to thin, do you stop and look around? Free to choose, but not to win. You're just too late. Your show is at an end. Now you're the victim of your game. Through your fingers, watch them slip. Familiar rules just hit and miss for the one who never shows. And that's beautiful. Not really. Kind of lame. Robert Plant lyrics are a bit out there. I mean, I guess it's not crazy to think, hey, I don't know this song by Robert Plant because I don't recognize the title. And then you read the lyrics like, no, I still don't know it because he doesn't put the titles in the songs. Even Stairway to Heaven doesn't say Stairway to Heaven until the last 3 words, right? They've got all kinds of... Zeppelin's got all kinds of songs. They're one band where I hear it, and obviously I know it's Zeppelin, but I often have to really struggle, like... Because the titles aren't often immigrant songs. They don't... I mean, come from the land of the ice and snow? I guess that's the immigrant part. But you get what I'm saying. Like, I think they have... I'm going to screw this up. In my mind, anyway. They have a song called The Lemon Song, and then they have a song where they say, squeeze my lemon till the juice runs down my leg. I'm not even sure if that's the same song. Let's see. The Lemon Song lyrics. Sorry, I'm on this Robert Plant thing. No, that is the right one. It's called The Lemon Song. There's another one like that, where they have a song title that makes you think it would match up with a different song based on the lyrics, but it doesn't, because Robert Plant is artsy. All right, where'd my list go? Done with Robert Plant. At number 11, 38 Special with Chain Lightning. I remember that existing. I don't remember how it goes. I love 2 38 Special songs, and Chain Lightning is not one of them. Although I might be thinking of Smokestack Lightning, which was a late-era Skynyrd song. Number 10, Genesis, Paper Late. What does the word paper late mean? I have no idea. Let's find out together. Paper Late, lyrics explained. All right. Paper Late is a British newsboy's cry. Where'd that go? Oh, hold on. Paper Late is a British newsboy's cry for the evening edition of the local paper. Late breaking news, perhaps an emergency transmission or warning. All right, so it just means the late news, the latest news, paper late. The phrase paper late in the song originates from the Genesis song Dancing with the Moonlit Night and is a reference to street sellers in England shouting paper late to hawk the evening edition of a newspaper, which would arrive later than the morning edition. The title for the song was conceived during a soundcheck rehearsal with the phrase being repeated by members of the band, particularly Phil Collins. We probably shouldn't try to read too far into the song title of a guy who also had a hit with Susudio. That's not a word. I'm going to look that one up now. Susudio. Explain. What's going on with that? S-U-S-S. Susudio lyrics. Explains. Yeah, that. Just doing a little research. The song Susudio is about Phil Collins' schoolboy crush on a classmate, with Susudio being a made-up nonsensical word that he couldn't replace with a better one to fit the melody. He then reverse-engineered the meaning by writing the lyrics to create a narrative around the word. The story describes a boy's infatuation with a girl who doesn't know him, and Susudio serves as a playful, abstract name or code for this girl he fantasizes about. That's even dumber than I thought. I want to like you, Phil Collins. You did some good things, but you've done some bad things. Susudio is one of them. Paper Late's another. All right, number 9, the Steve Miller Band, Abracadabra. Loved this song as a kid. I own it on 45. Since then, I have come to appreciate what a stupid song it is, in large part because I've listened to a lot of Adam Carolla over the years, and it is a song that he uses as an example of what terrible music is. So I'm a little torn. I can't just say I love that song. I can say I loved that song in 1982. Number 8, Judas Priest. You've got another thing coming. Of course I know that song. I've never really loved Judas Priest, but it's fine. Number 7, Robert Plant again. What now? Burning Down One Side. I don't remember Robert Plant being such a solo star in 1982. But apparently he was. Number 6, Survivor, Eye of the Tiger. We all know that one. My kids know that one. Everybody knows that one. Theme from Rocky 3. That was... It's funny to think about how, like, badass that song seemed in 1982 and how not badass it actually is. But yeah, that was a big deal. I had that on 45 as well, or have that on 45. Number 5, Glenn Frey, Party Town. Nope, no idea. Number 4, Flock of Seagulls. You guessed it, Iran, because that was their song. I never loved that song until it was in the 80s edition of Guitar Hero, and then I started to appreciate the guitar work in it, and that made me happy. Number 3, Fleetwood Mac, Hold Me. That was a big hit. That was a good one. I was going to say same era as Gypsy, but obviously they're on the same chart. One's at 3, one's at 13 at the same time. So Fleetwood Mac was mounting a bit of a comeback here in 82. Now you found yourself in 82. At number 2, Billy Squier. Again, second appearance from Billy Squier, this time with Everybody Wants You. Everybody wants you. And topping the chart for the third week in a row on August 21st, 1982 is Eddie Money with the song Think I'm in Love. I like that song. R.I.P. Eddie. I'm done with the show for today. I'm done with the show for the week. Next week's going to be fun because football is happening. You'll get a lot of Scott Wilson. You'll get a lot of college football talk. There's obviously going to be NFL talk as well. And, the other stuff that just comes up in the process of doing a show. I want to thank you for listening, for listening live. Of course, that's the starting point. This is like the hardcore. You're like the prime people that I'm working for here. But then the podcast comes out, and way more people listen to the podcast version than the live version, which can be expected. But if you listen to the podcast version, you don't get the music, and I think you're losing something there. So we talk a lot about music, but it's better when we play the music, and you don't get that, the podcast thing. So while I recommend, if you missed the show, go do the podcast part. And if you see, like, I put out the link and you see it, like, click on it. Download it. Subscribe to it. It's helpful. The more numbers we accumulate across all the different platforms, like, if you've got a minute, subscribe on the YouTube one. Subscribe on Spotify. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And then also tune in live and be a part of the show and participate through the chat. And just keep doing what we're doing. Just bigger and more of it. All right? I am going to play music to end this. I already played that. Afghan Wigs. I don't know that I've played Afghan Wigs on the show. I talk about them a lot. I like them a lot. I'm about to sneeze. I got to hit play. Bye.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?